Welcome back, everyone. After a long wait, Deadpool Wolverine is less than 24 hours away, so I'm super excited. I'm going to see the movie tomorrow. But before we get into that, I want to get some last-second predictions out to you guys, see what you guys think, see if you guys have any other theories or how much you disagree with my theories. So we're going to start with my most tame to my most outlandish. We have 4 theories here for you today. Let's get into it.
Life is a mystery.
So my first theory is that the TVA is the villain in this movie. Now, I'm not saying that they are the main villain. That is, of course, going to be Cassandra Nova. But I think we just got used to the TVA kind of being taken over and being the good guys again. And so some of you may be confused because you're like, we just kind of got this plot in Loki. But I think Mr. Paradox is a rogue faction of the TVA that doesn't really agree with what B-15 is going through or what B-15 is doing with the TVA. We know from the trailer that B-15 is going to be in this movie, so I think Mr. Paradox could be kind of operating the TVA as normal under the nose of B-15, and that's where Deadpool gets brought in. He brings Deadpool in because of his time-traveling adventures in Deadpool 2, and offers him kind of the same deal that they offered Loki. You can either help us prune other timelines, or you can get pruned and sent to the void. Deadpool, of course, helps, but he kind of rebels when he has to prune a timeline he cares about. Maybe his own, maybe Logan's timeline, something like that. And so he rebels, and then the TVA prunes him, and he gets sent to the void, and so on and so forth.
Life is a mystery.
Now on to the Logan in this movie. I do not think that Wolverine is going to be Logan from the X-Men, Logan from Logan. He's going to be an entirely new Logan, and he's going to be Old Man Logan. If you don't know who this is a Logan who had actually killed all of the X-Men. He had been tricked by Mysterio into believing that all of the X-Men are villains, and so he killed them himself, but as a result of that, he's really emotionally scarred, and so he doesn't kind of do Wolverine things anymore. He doesn't use his claws. He kind of has laid off his abilities, laid off being a superhero. And I think it's very likely that that's the Logan that we're getting, and that's why he says he's no hero, or he doesn't do that. I'm not your Logan, I'm not your Wolverine, because he has that guilt of what he did to the other X-Men. It would add a deep emotional layer to this guy.
Life is a mystery.
This is a more fun and silly one, but I think there's a possibility that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman switch places. And what I mean by that is that we get Ryan Reynolds playing Wolverine and Hugh Jackman playing Deadpool. Personally, I'm more excited for the possibility of Hugh Jackman playing Deadpool. I think if he plays this gritty, kind of grumbly Wolverine the whole time, it would be really interesting to see how he does with playing Deadpool. We've seen him play kind of upbeat, funny characters, so having him play Deadpool would be a nice kind of little turn on expectations, and I think audiences would love it. It would become instantly an iconic moment, and I just really hope this happens. I don't know how likely it is, but fingers crossed.
Life is a mystery.
And so on to my big one. I do think that we get 2 to 3 X-Men introduced in this movie, and I mean the main MCU X-Men. Kevin Feige has already said that this begins the mutant saga, and if we're having a full-blown mutant saga, we need some X-Men introduced soon, and so I think Deadpool is really the movie to do that. I think one of these mutants is going to be X-23, who stays in the MCU after this, and I think this makes sense because we've seen what they did with Captain America and Black Panther in passing the mantle. I think they could do the same thing with X-23, and they could actually manufacture that in this movie, where this Wolverine passes the mantle on to X-23, but it's also a way for Hugh to pass the mantle on to Daphne. And I think the reason that they would do this is so that she's not compared to Hugh Jackman like any other recast would be. If characters like this already exist and already have a fandom behind them, why not use them? And I think if you recast as whoever that may be, they're always going to be compared to Hugh Jackman. So I think doing it in this way lays off those comparisons, but lets the Marvel MCU Wolverine really thrive. The other 2 that could come in, I really don't know. I hope it's Nightcrawler. I really would love to see a live action Nightcrawler, but I really don't have any prediction about who that may be, but 2 to 3 X-Men coming in this movie.
Life is a mystery.
There are also three main moments that have been theorized about by the internet. The first one is, will we return to the Battle of Earth? I think this is a definite yes. I think he ends up showing up at the Battle of Earth, and he just kind of takes all the key moments. Maybe he tries to wield Mjolnir. Maybe he tries to be the one who snaps, and he replaces all those iconic moments with himself. And, you know, he's Marvel Jesus. So I think that is a definite yes. Another one is, will Cerebro show up? I think so, in a little bit of a different way. We know that Cassandra Nova has taken over the head of Giant Man in the Void, and that's kind of her base of operations. I think this could be a kind of proxy Cerebro. Maybe not in the same sense that we've seen it in the other films, but I think some form of Cerebro will be showing up. And the last one is, will we get an introduction to Doctor Doom? I really don't think this is going to happen because there's no really big incentive for Marvel to do it. Of course, it's, you know, a movie that can tie into the MCU, but this is a very comedic movie. It will have serious undertones, but Doctor Doom is supposed to be the next Thanos. I mean, Kang is supposed to be the next Thanos, but Doctor Doom is supposed to be the next Thanos after the whole Kang debacle. And I think they want him to be taken seriously. So I don't know if they'll do it in such a comedic film like this that is a big parody of everything that they're doing a little bit. And so I'm not sure that they want that tone to be tied to Doctor Doom from the start, so I'm going to say no.
Life is a mystery.
And I have a list here of 12 cameos that have really been theorized by the internet as well. And so I'm just going to go down the list and say yes or no. Taylor Swift, I would say no. I think maybe a song, but no Taylor Swift. She's not on the soundtrack, so I'm just going to say no Taylor Swift. James Marsden as Cyclops, again, I would say no. Ben Affleck's Daredevil, I'm going to say no as well. Of course, we have Jennifer Garner showing up as Elektra, but I think that's about it for that. Domino and Cable, going to tie these two together. I think we should, and I think we will see a lot of them. We haven't seen them yet in the trailers with the other Deadpool characters, but I do think they will have to show up or else it's going to be really confusing. Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, I would say no. If anything, we should be getting Andrew Garfield, but I would say Tobey Maguire, no. Andrew Garfield, maybe, but I'm going to still lean no with him. We've seen it before, and there's not much payoff to do again. X-Men Origins, Deadpool and Wolverine, I would say yes. I think they're going to make fun of this very, very heavily. And so it'd be cool to maybe just another callback to a callback and they go back and maybe kill those guys one more time. Blake Lively. This is the big one. Is Blake Lively playing Lady Deadpool? Before, I thought it was going to be Ryan Reynolds in a wig. He kind of debunked that, so I will say yes with Blake Lively. Henry Cavill as either Wolverine or Cyclops. I think it's more likely that he would show up as a Wolverine variant, kind of what they did with John Krasinski. I'm going to go yes because I want it to happen. So I'm going to go Henry Cavill as Wolverine. Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. We already saw in the trailer that Deadpool has a lot of respect for Chris Evans' version of Captain America. And so I do think they're going to add him as Johnny Storm, a little bit of subversion where we think Captain America's finally returned. We have all these questions answered. Where's Captain America been? But it's Johnny Storm and Deadpool's disappointed. Will Loki show up? I think this is a yes, maybe in the form of the tree, but he is going to show up. He has to because the TVA is so heavily involved. But Cassandra Nova spaghettifies the TVA, and so to do that, I think Loki has to be involved somehow, either getting rid of him or temporarily disabling him or something. So I do think Loki shows up. And our last cameo is, of course, the big fight. Will Hulk show up? And again, I don't think... I'm really torn on this one. Just because they've been talking a lot about, man, I really wish I could work with Hulk. Hugh Jackman says he would love to fight Hulk. And I think that's a little bit of subversion, but I don't know if they have the time to fight Hulk. But because I want it to happen, I'm going to say yes, we will get a Hulk and Wolverine fight.
Life is a mystery.
So those are some quick rapid fire predictions for Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm going to see it tomorrow, which means that there will be a review of it out on Friday. But until then, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your predictions down below, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.